All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Raymote Webinar. This is going to be somewhere around 45 minutes, I believe. We're going to go over sort of the basics of Raymote, kind of give you a good introduction. So without any further ado, let's go for it. So what is Raymote? Raymote is our IoT solution here at Raypak. It is how we are monitoring, connecting with our devices out in the field, and it's giving us a whole lot of really good information, a lot of really good data. And not only that, it's giving you as a service technician or an owner of a unit a lot of good tools to monitor and to make adjustments and things like that off-site as well. So a few things that Raymote does: overview, fleet of devices, Raymote monitoring and control, historical data review, notifications and alerts, reports, data-driven decision-making, and tech support. Raymote's very easy to connect. We do have a quick start guide that we include with all of the boilers that are equipped with Raymote. Very easy to follow. And we'll go through a few of the different ways that you can get signed up and signed in. Basically, once you have an account, you can go ahead and connect boilers. So once you have the account, that's number one. Number two, obviously, turn on the heater. Number three is add a new device on any mobile device that you have Raymote on. And then number four, this is what we call the Wi-Fi handshake. So you don't need to be connected to the Wi-Fi at the site on your phone. You just need to tell the boiler which Wi-Fi to use. And I should say boiler or heater. I myself am a boiler technician by trade, so boiler is usually the word I use. But for anybody else out there, water heater, pool heater, anything that you're connecting to Raymote, not specifically just boilers. So once you make that handshake, then the boiler knows what Wi-Fi signal to pick up on and which one to use, and it will start working immediately. And you can see a few of the main things to make sure that you have before you connect to Raymote is the Wi-Fi credentials, and then also to make sure that that is a strong Wi-Fi signal near the boiler. In a lot of cases, we'll need to add Wi-Fi repeaters just to reach the area of the boiler, but that's a big one. Raymote will work as long as there is Wi-Fi signal once the boiler is connected. Okay, and then you go ahead and you'll name your boiler, name the heater, identify it, make sure that you're using specific identifiers, not just boiler one or heater one. We really want to make sure that we can distinguish which unit that is. There's a lot of units on Raymote, and we're hoping to add a whole lot more. So if we can add boilers with specific names and things like that, that's going to help out a whole lot. And if you are having trouble connecting your unit, you can scan that code and it will direct you to our support page on our website. And we'll go through just a quick little video here to show basically what I just talked about there. Ensuring there's a strong Wi-Fi signal is very crucial. We don't want that Wi-Fi signal to drop repeatedly because it will interrupt our data streams. And we do have different definitions of members. We'll go into that in a little bit after this little video here. And I think the main thing that is so appealing for me as a boiler technician by trade is the ability to see those alerts and see what failures and things like that the boiler's showing before I get to the site, in case I need to have specific parts on the van before I get there. Okay. So to create a Raymote login, there's two different ways. One way is you can just sign up and kind of be a floating partner. That way you would have your own organization. The way that we recommend is to be added and follow an invitation to a specific organization. So this is going to be through whoever your distributor is that sold you the boiler. They will add you to their organization, and they will be members of one of our regional sales managers organizations. And that way, being a member of that organization is going to allow all of those people above you in the organization to help when they need to. They'll be able to go right in and have access to all the information they need. So here's a quick little overview of how to get signed up here. Go to raymote.raypak.com, click create a new account, sign up, and go through the partner sign up. And to follow an invitation, obviously this is the best way to do it. Here you would just follow an email that will be sent to you from your distributor or from one of our regional sales or district sales managers. And here's kind of a breakdown of that organizational layout. So you can see out in the field there, there's all the different people on site with the boilers. Just above them are the reps, so your sales reps, your distributors, and then above them would be the sales managers, and then above that is our Raypak service team. This organization method is set up so that we, as Raypak service, can really get in and help you when you need it. And here's a little sign up process case study here. We have Pete, who is a tech from Boiler Bros Corporation, and we have Jane, who wants to monitor the data on her boiler with Raymote, and Bob, who's our Raypak sales manager. So Pete calls Bob and explains that he had just sold a unit that needs to be connected to Raymote, and none of them have credentials yet. So this is how it would go. Hi, Bob, please give me access to Raymote. Hi, Pete, sure. I'll create an organization for Boiler Bros. You'll be the administrator, and you can invite more Boiler Bros associates if needed. Thanks, I got the email, it works. Now I'll create a sub-organization for Jane under School District ABC. And then Jane will say, hi, Pete, I got this email and my credentials, and I can log in. So Pete has successfully initiated his network, which will allow Bob and the Raypak service team to see and assist with troubleshooting and maintenance recommendations in the future. And now he can add more sites to his network. So once he's been established there, he has the ability to continue to grow his network and add more boilers and sub-organizations, so on and so forth. Oh, where did I go there? Okay. So to invite users, it's pretty simple. On the web dashboard, you can find the organization that you're looking for. Log in, go straight to the Boiler Bros organization, go to the Users tab, and press Invite. And this will pop up. You'll enter the email of the person who needs to be invited. And once you hit save, it will send that email. Okay. Now we'll look at the desktop and the mobile app and see, once we're set up, once we have our organization created, now what can we do? And there's a lot we can do. We're not going to go over absolutely everything, but this will give you a general idea and why I think it's a really useful tool to have in general. And any boiler that you can connect, it's definitely worth its weight in gold to have that accessibility. So when you pull up the dashboard on the computer, there's a few things you can do. Mainly on the dashboard and the mobile app differ in certain ways. One main way that they differ is that you can make adjustments to your set points and things like that from the mobile app, and you can't do that on the website. But the website's got a lot more visibility, and we can really drill down and get into the minutia of what our boiler's doing and everything like that. So you can see there under devices, you can find your devices there. Once you find your device and you click on it, this is what the page will look like. We've got all kinds of information here, all the different readouts, and this is all real time, what the boiler's doing in that moment. So a few things to point out. This boiler at that time was modulating at 28%. The flame current is 5 milliamps, and we've got inlet, outlet. We've got about a 10-degree delta T. It's on the governor is the PID logic, so on and so forth. You can see just from a general scan of that how easy it is to just see what's happening in that very moment. And then when we want to get into the specifics of our data stream, we click on service, and then under service there's a drop-down menu. This drop-down menu allows you to select over 40, up to and over 40 different streams of data. A few of the ones that I find useful are the ones that I have selected there. The boiler actual rate, which is the actual boiler, the firing rate, blower speed, and the current. That's your flame sensor current. And it'll pop up like this on the graph. And you can see we have our different, on the left there's our different data streams at the top. And the graph shows what everything's doing. And if you click and drag, you can zoom in on a very specific point of data. And it zooms in and it looks like that. And then as you scroll, move your cursor along those lines, it will give you the readout in that exact moment. The great thing about this is that we're able to monitor boilers over, this readout will give you up to 3 months of data on these streams. So as you're monitoring and watching the boilers turn on and off and modulate, you really get a sense of if the boiler was sized correctly, if we're having short cycling issues, possibly there may be a D-rate that would be necessary. And it really gives us an idea of what that boiler's doing that entire time, that whole 3 months, that 3-month period. So that is just on the data stream, the 3-month period, but we do have up to a year of stored data that you can generate a report and get up to as far back as a year under a report. So this is really the neatest part for me as far as Raymote goes, and being able to see exactly what your boiler is doing at exactly what time, and how long the cycles are and things like that. There's been countless times in my career having a call in the middle of the night when all the boilers are down, and showing up in the morning and they're working again, and I have no idea why they went down overnight. And this will kind of help, at least to give a little bit more visibility during those times when you're not on site. Definitely this specific aspect of Raymote is something that I definitely find is very, very helpful. So there's a little video here that I'll play, and it'll go through very quickly some just some movement on the actual dashboard, and you can kind of get an idea of what things look like and how they move. So the timeline there's is very good as well. You can see all the boiler errors, and you can make notes of the boiler errors and things like that, which definitely help out. And you can see how those are marked resolved. You can go through and identify. And here's what I was just talking about with the data streams. You can select a handful of different data streams, and they'll show up on the graph. And you can really get a good analysis of what's going on. We're really able to see things that we weren't able to see before. And you can see as the cursor moves along, the points of data that it's reading. And there was that good click and drag, and instantly zoomed in. You're able to reset that zoom too, up in the right in the center of the screen there. So hopefully that gives you a good overview and kind of a good walkthrough of the website and how to navigate that. Next, we can move down to the mobile app and what that will look like. And here is the two different screens. On the left here, we've got one that's showing our Avia gas heater, which our Avia gas heaters are Raymote compatible. And on the other side there on the right, we have an X-First with Core. And you can see the differences between our pool and our hydronic, and our commercial readouts here for these different ones. The pool is showing our, the Avia heater is showing our water temp, set point, and what mode it's in. And on the commercial side of the X-First Core, we have an inlet, outlet, and our firing rate. And that's just on the opening screen in our mobile app. And then once you select one of those heaters, say for instance, we select our commercial heater there, the X-First Core, this is what it's going to look like. It'll bring this page up. So the first page will be the view, and that'll give us all of our information there, give us all of our data readouts, very similar to what it was like on the desktop. And then under adjust, this is where we can come in and actually make some adjustments to the unit. The adjustments are limited for safety reasons. We don't want them to be too advanced. We want to make sure that you're standing in front of the boiler if you're making a lot of advanced adjustments. But generally speaking, set point, we can change our outdoor reset settings, things like that. And this is helpful. If you need to turn a boiler off, you can just drop that set point down and the boiler won't run. Okay, and then here's what the adjustments look like for the VIA heaters, for our pool heaters. You can see the differences here. One of the main ones is you're able to turn the heater on or off. You can also turn on and off any pumps or anything that's connected through the controls of that heater. And obviously turning our temperature up and down, things like that. Very easy to use, all done on the mobile app. So one of the questions that we get quite often in our trainings when we're talking about Raymote is, how do I disconnect Raymote if I'm at a location that won't allow any Wi-Fi from any of the equipment there? And it's very easy to do. On the back of the touch screens, there's a little connection. This is the 7-inch touchscreen. You can see the connection is J21. You just need to clip that connection there and it will disable the power going to the Wi-Fi module. And then here's the 4.3-inch touchscreen as well. And this one actually has the written on it, cut to permanently disable Wi-Fi. So if you're in any military installations, or I know Google or Tesla or places like that, these major companies, they don't want anything connecting to Wi-Fi for safety reasons. And so that's very easy just to disconnect that, and there will no longer be a Wi-Fi signal coming from that unit. And in that case, if we do have a boiler that we cannot connect to Wi-Fi and therefore we cannot use Raymote, and we do need help with some troubleshooting, we need to monitor the what the boiler is doing over a period of time, we do have the factory diagnostics setting. So what the factory diagnostics does, and keep in mind this isn't a perfect it's not a perfect solution. There are interruptions that can have with the recording, so it doesn't always record perfectly, but generally speaking, you can get a good amount of information out of the factory diagnostics. So on our controls under the toolbox, system tools, you can activate the factory diagnostics, and I believe you can record up to 196 hours of information, and that records to the SD card. And once that's recorded to the SD card, you can take it and upload it to your computer, or you can even send the SD card into Raypak, and we can analyze all that data. And it's just another good tool in case you don't have the ability to connect to Raymote. And here's the information that factory diagnostics is actually recording. This is the diagnostic screen. This is another area in which we need to differentiate between the factory diagnostics and the diagnostic screen. But this is all the information. This is a live readout of what the boiler is doing at that moment. And so this is all the information that we'll record when you're doing the factory diagnostics recording. And so that is pretty much it. I want to open it up for questions and comments. Let's see what we can do. Are there any questions out there? You guys can raise your hands.
Devin, I have a question. Like back on slide 14, when we were looking at Jane, the school district manager, I can see where a maintenance team for a school, this is a really big advantage as a first line of defense for maintenance. So if she's the school administrator and she has a bunch of maintenance teams, it seems like she should also be able to set up user groups for each of her specific schools' maintenance team. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's able to, under her sub-organization, she's able to create more sub-organizations for herself. And
Good.
one thing to note on that as well is when creating those organizations and sub-organizations, you can select the user's level of involvement on the app or on the desktop. So you can limit, if you just want people to be view only, you can limit them to that. You can also have them have more range of accessibility.
Fantastic, thank you.
One other thing that I don't think I noted on here was when Raymote was introduced. So we have, since May of 2019, all of our boilers that have the touch screen are Raymote compatible. Prior to that, if you do have a boiler that was made prior to that, I believe there is an option. If you want to add Raymote, you can get a kit, and it's the Wi-Fi module. It's a little chip that plugs into the back of the board, and it'll come with an antenna as well. And then that way you'll be able to connect to Raymote on those older boilers. Are there any other questions, comments? If so, I believe you just unmute yourself and we can go from there.
Hey, Devin, the kits, the aftermarket kits, they are not available for a high delta, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So we don't have any Raymote on high delta as of yet, just because we don't have the touch screen. It's all worked through the board on the touch screen. We're looking at that in the future, though.
All right, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anybody else? All right, well, if there aren't any more questions.
Hey, Devin, I got one for you.
Yes.
Aaron Weaver here, your boiler guy.
I could tell. Hey, Aaron.
You did good.
Thank
So
you.
with that in mind, whenever you go to set up the name of your boiler or your organization, and you're doing it, let's say, on your cell phone, please name it something other than the default hydronic XYZ123. That way, if we ever need to find it or locate it, we can a whole lot easier. So obviously, if your building is called Greenleaf Greenhouse, great. Name your boiler that, and then name it boiler 1 or boiler 2. You know what I mean? So we can find that if we need to help you.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. We can definitely expand upon that a little bit. I had mentioned earlier to name your boiler something specific, and that's exactly what I was getting at. I think somebody had told me when Raymote was initially released that we had about 1,000 boiler number 1s, and nobody could figure out which boiler number 1. So very important to be very specific with the naming of your unit, and make sure you add as much information in as possible. Very cool. Thank you, Aaron.
One other one for on the troubleshooting where you said the status where it was like a PID.
Yes.
That is very helpful if you're troubleshooting, especially if you just started a boiler up, and let's say it's one of our stainless steel boilers that we allow PVC on. Well, the default is PVC vent protection, right? So, and we talked this over with Haram the other week, and they're supposed to be changing that where it'll say vent protection now instead of like PID. So it'll alert you a little bit easier. So it'll say, hey, that's what's holding you out from, going any higher on temperatures. So that's a useful part of your screen to watch.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And I know that that'll show if it's low flow conditions or anything like that. It'll show what's governing the boiler. So thank you for that. Yeah, that is a good one to keep an eye on, especially if you're going to just pop on Raymote, check on things, see how everything's running. That's a good one to just see immediately, make sure that everything's in good working order.
Hey, Devin, it's Chris Johnson.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Good. Question. So using this screen right here, will people like Bob and high up level be able to get access to everyone's account? Or is that something, as the, like Jane, for example, would she say, hey, allow higher level access? What I'm kind of getting at, like, if Jane calls in, says, I can't figure this out, goes to the distributor, right? They're like, oh yeah, hey, we need, Bob's help, right, to escalate this issue. Can Bob have access automatically? Can he log into like a master account and see everyone's boiler out there who's connected to Raymote?
Yes, as long as, so basically the structure of the organizations is Bob's organization is what Pete and then now Jane are part of. So Bob has access to all the boilers in his organization. That's why it's so crucial I wouldn't say crucial, but why it's highly recommended to get an invitation and follow an invitation when signing up. Because you'll automatically be added to somebody's organization. And so it'll make situations like the one you just explained, it'll make that a lot easier. Because that boiler will already be part of Bob's organization. So he has immediate access to it. He can just pull it up and start helping troubleshooting, things like that.
Okay, so like someone like, I guess back in the days, Dan Goldner, right? He wouldn't have access into Jane or the distributor's level, right? Like say Bob is unavailable, and this had to get escalated, they wouldn't really have access to their two accounts. Right?
If I'm not sure how it works among the regionals, maybe Aaron might be able to.
Dan can see everything, as Aaron Weaver, can see everything, and that's everything in the country.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you for that information.
Yep.
Yeah, it really makes it easy for us to help with troubleshooting and things like that. Thank you.
One of the problems that we run into is whenever like somebody will try and commission one, and half the time it's either Jane or the contractor, their Boiler Bros, and they're just trying to commission it and get it on Raymote without an invite. And that can be done, and that's okay. It's not recommended, but it gives them access to see it. But then there becomes the problem if they call the rep or they get a hold of the regional or the factory and saying, hey, I need help. I think something's wrong here, and I'm not sure what. Then it comes back to we got to find the address of the location, the email, some kind of identifying structure, so then we can find that specific boiler or that site. So that takes a good bit of time. So that's where the guys are outlining getting an invite from the rep over to it, or having the rep actually do this at startup is really the better way to do it long term.
Yeah, exactly. And I know you can be added later to somebody's organization if you're a free floating partner.
Yes.
But it does take a little bit more time and effort to do that, as opposed to just having an invite from the get-go. Yeah, one of the biggest things we want to make sure is that if there's a boiler that's out there that's within Wi-Fi range and in a location that suits Raymote well, then we want to make sure that boiler gets connected to Raymote and it doesn't just sit there with all of the capabilities of being connected. So hopefully with this presentation and once in the future we can get more boilers connected, it's definitely going to be beneficial to everybody. We've noticed so many we've already noticed so many benefits of it, mainly seeing how many boilers go into the field that are oversized, that short cycle and things like that. So, yep, hopefully, yeah, go ahead.
Devin, yeah, this is Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Did you post a link to all the videos, the little 2-minute videos?
No.
Or a link to the main, maybe the better place is the kind of the main Raymote page where they can access the touchscreen software and then get a link to all these videos and kind of a quick start guide. That's a good
that quick start guide, there is the QR code there will send you to that, and raymote.raypak.com. This webinar will be on our training website as well, raypaktraining.com, under our video library for our commercial products.
To make it quite simple, if you actually use the toolbar and the search and you type in Raymote, it actually brings you now to a nice landing page choice that you can get to and get access to more information on Raymote videos, the quick start guide, the touchscreen updates, all that. I was using that actually today, so it's actually a nice landing page for it.
Yeah, yep. And once you do it once or twice, I've experienced the navigation of everything seems pretty intuitive after that. So once you get the hang of it and you connect one boiler, it's really not too hard after that. All right. Any other questions out there, comments? I think we can probably wrap up then at this point. Thank you everybody for attending. If you have any other questions in the future, please reach out to your distributors or your regional sales managers, and they'll definitely have a lot of great information and be a good help for getting connected to Raymote. And please let us know if there's anything else you want to see covered in any of our webinars, if it's regarding Raymote or any other products or issues or anything like that. We'd be glad to put something together. So, all right, that's it. I will go ahead and end. Thank you all again for coming.